Hi, this is Lisa with Small Batch Chaos. Thank you for coming to my channel. Today we're going to make a apple cinnamon scone made with fresh milled flour. It's going to be all clean ingredients, so no extra chemicals or additives, just whole food. First thing we're going to do is mill the flour. So I'm going to be using a combination of Kamut, soft white, and spelt flours. I'm just going to mill those now because I do need to get them cold. So let's get that all measured out and into the bowl. Okay, so I have my, all right, so now I have my bowl on the scale. I'm gonna turn it on, and we want it in grams. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is the soft white. And for the soft white, I want 95 grams. Let's see, just a little too much. All right, there's 95 grams. And then we're going to do 94 of the Kamut. Get that tared. Okay, 94 Kamut. There we go. And then we're going to do 95 of the spelt. I'm sorry, 94 of the spelt. Get that tared, and we'll add 94. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we'll move the scale out of the way. We'll shut it off. Move the scale out of the way. And I'll bring the mill over. So what I have for a mill is the Nutrimill Impact. I do have a Como that I like to use as well, but this one's been pretty good as well. So what I'm going to do, because we've got wheat, we're going to turn this on the dial here. We're going to turn it to 2. to move the mill out of the way. And then we'll open up this bowl. See, you're going to open this cup and you're going to empty that cup into the bowl. No, it's in there. Good. There. Now this, what you have is a nice fine flour, and we are going to put this into our bowl. So I'm going to give us some time and put this in the freezer to let it cool off, because we don't want the heat. We don't want the heat from the flour to melt the butter. Okay, so I've got the flour out of the freezer. It was in the freezer about 15 minutes. And right now I'm going to get the apple prepared. So this is one Granny Smith apple that's been peeled, cored, and chopped. Then I got some sugar and some cinnamon that's going to get sprinkled on it. And then get mixed. Going to coat those apple pieces with the cinnamon and sugar. Okay, let's set this aside. Now this is the flour. That spent about 15 minutes in the freezer. And then what I did is I shredded 1 stick of butter, of frozen butter. Then we're going to put that in there. It's still cold, but it is starting to soften up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to get our hands in this bowl, and we're going to, well, first we're going to kind of coat this, and we're going to kind of rub them together, because what we want is for this flour to be like a coarse cornmeal. So that's the kind of consistency we're looking for. And you need to have cold butter for this, or it's not going to work. Okay, and I'm also going to, before I keep going, I'm going to add some sugar. What I'm actually using is honey granules, and I've got salt, baking soda, baking powder. And we'll just get those incorporated. It's easier to use your hands. You could put it in a food processor, I guess. But I just find I can do it with my hands pretty easy. It just takes a little longer. It's almost done. Okay, I think that'll be good enough, because we do want these scones to have those butter bits in them so that they'll feel nice and flaky. All right, so next I'm going to get my scale again. Here's the scale. We're going to turn the scale. We're going to put the bowl on the scale. Turn it on. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a cup of heavy cream. Just going to unwrap this. Okay, this here. Okay, so we want 1 cup of heavy cream. It'll be about half this bottle. And I'm going to pour most of it in, but not all of it. I'm going to save a little bit out, just in case. Get rid of the scale. And we're going to mix this together. And you want this to form a good dough ball. Okay, I think we are going to need the rest. Let's put a little bit in for now. Get this mixed, and that might be all we need. Okay. There we go. And what I like about this recipe is it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. Okay. Okay, so I did mill a little extra flour. Okay, so I did mill a little extra flour for dusting. So we're gonna sprinkle this on the work surface. We'll get this out of the bowl. Okay. I am gonna kind of knead it a little bit. I don't want to knead it too much because I don't want to get the dough too tough. That should about do it. So we're going to put some more flour on. Okay, and we're going to put some more on the top. And then we're going to flour the rolling pin. And we're just going to roll this out. Okay, we don't want it too thin. Okay, so the next step is to take the apples, and we're going to sprinkle this on here. And just kind of spread them out so it's going across the whole dough. Okay, get as close to the edge as you can. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do next is get the bench scraper. We're going to go underneath. We're going to fold this in half. Then we're going to do the same thing on this one. Actually, we're going to fold it into thirds. So we're going to pick this up and fold it into thirds. Okay. And then we're just going to roll it out just a little more. Okay, that's okay if that's open up. It's just gonna cook. It's just gonna cook. So then what we want to do is cut this into 8 pieces. So with the bench scraper, we're going to cut it in half. Then we're going to cut these other pieces into triangles. So what I do, just kind of get it a little angled, make like the V, and then you'll cut through. Same here, and then the same here. I'm going to do the same thing here. So we're going to have 8 pieces. There. So right now I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees. All right. Put this over here. And the next thing we're going to do is put these pieces on the pan that it's going to cook on. So I'm going to get my bench scraper, go underneath and pick up the piece. We'll just kind of move them over and put them on the pan. There. All right, those are all on there, how I got it lined up. Now, the next thing is we're just gonna put this egg, we're gonna make an egg wash. I'm gonna put a little of this, so I'm gonna put that leftover cream in there. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, just do an egg wash. You're going to make sure you get all the surfaces, because you don't want to have unbrowned areas on the top of your scones. So sometimes when I make scones, after I do the egg wash, I'll sprinkle some turbinado sugar on it, but I'm not going to with these, because we're gonna make a glaze to drizzle on these instead of doing the turbinado sugar. I know my husband is very excited to get these tonight. And if you have any questions about what I'm doing, feel free to leave questions in the comments. I would love to hear from everybody. And I want to ask that you like the video and subscribe to my channel. That'll help my channel to grow. There you go. So these are going to go into the oven, and I'll be back when they are done. Okay, so these were in a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes, and they have since cooled, and I have separated them so we can put the glaze on them. So I'm going to move them out of the way and make the glaze. So in this bowl, I have 1 cup of sifted organic powdered sugar. And I'm going to add a teaspoon, that's a little more than a teaspoon because I like a lot, of cinnamon. And this is the Ceylon cinnamon. I'm just going to get this mixed together. And next I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the cream that we used to go into the scones. The rest, you could use milk as well. And then I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and my vanilla is homemade. I'll just get this mixed up. Because I'm using cream instead of vanilla, I may need more because the cream is thicker than the milk. We'll get this mixed in as much as we can. Okay, let's add that. Let's add a little more. We want this to a drizzle consistency. A little more milk. Well, that's the cream. All right. Now I'm just going to put a little bit more milk. See if we can get a little bit thinner so we can drizzle it on the scones. Okay, I'm just going to finish off that little bit that's there. Okay, so now we'll bring the scones back and we will drizzle this on it. It's a little thicker than I like, but it works. And I kind of let it flow over the edges as well. There we go. I'm just going to keep drizzling. And this is just it's actually a very bland drizzle. You can taste the cinnamon. It's not overly sweet, but it does give a little bit more sweetness to the scones that really doesn't have much sugar in it. It just adds like the perfect, it's just a perfect addition to the scones. And if you would rather, you can just put a big dab of this on and using a knife to spread it on. I just like to do the drizzle. Almost done. Put a little bit more on this one. So there you go. This is the cinnamon apple scones made with fresh milled flour. You don't need any mixers. Everything is able to be mixed by hand easily. And these are delicious. They don't last long in my house. Last time I made them, we kept 4 for us, gave 4 to a family member, and they were gone by, with my husband and I eating them, they were gone then. But we had one that night, then we had one the next morning, and then they were gone. All right, that is it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And again, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.